Welcome to Heal You From Within Healthy Talk podcast. Today I have Dr. Monisha Barnot, who is integrative and functional practitioner physician, also concentrate on food, especially in lifestyle. So welcome to my podcast, and I am really happy we've been trying to get this together for a while because we both love traveling, and you and I been, traveling a lot. So trying to get the schedule in was kind of a fun thing and tricky thing for us. So I'm glad that I got you on the podcast today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dennis. Yeah, both of us, we're both traveling to different sides of the world, always on an airplane, always heading somewhere. So to get us, even if it's virtually on the
Yeah,
same call is tricky. But
absolutely.
yeah, so I know I saw you traveling quite far. If I remember correctly, I think you headed to Asia as well. And I think we both basically
Right.
crossed paths because I was out in Southeast Asia for almost a month. And I think it's fascinating what we can learn while traveling, learn from other cultures, and also kind of utilize some of those tools and bring them back for us to use in our lives here.
Ab- Absolutely. One of the things that I, wanted to bring up, and especially with you, you work with a lot of menu guide and the food as your, base and lifestyle type of thing. So, one thing that I hear a lot is from people when they say, "Oh, holidays coming or they're traveling," and "Oh, I can't eat that way because I'm traveling." What's your thought? Like, what did you do? I know you were in Thailand and stuff too, right? So
Yeah,
what was
yeah.
your
So
thought? And yeah,
let me give you a little bit of background on I am a physician. I'm a quintuple board certified physician, and I have 5 specialties, from anatomic, clinical, cytopathology, all the way to integrative medicine and culinary medicine. So I really see food as medicine.
right.
And basically what I've realized is the food outside of the US is so much better than here. And it's because here we are so used to grocery stores and we have access to so much, but what we have
Mm-hmm.
access to is
Mm-hmm.
all ultra processed food.
Right.
So while I was abroad and traveling, it actually was not difficult to follow my style of eating. And I'm plant based, gluten free.
Right.
And I was in let's see, I was in Bali, so I was in Indonesia.
Right.
Then from Indonesia, I was in Singapore. From Singapore, I was in Malaysia. And
I'm
then from
jealous.
Malaysia to Qatar. And the one thing that was universal at all of these places is food cost a lot less outside of the US.
Mm-hmm.
And it not only costs less, it's fresh, meaning
Right.
I'm eating fresh fruit, I'm eating fresh vegetables, lots of variety, like
Mm-hmm.
so much variety. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
unbelievable. I was probably eating a dragon fruit every day, which costs like $1 in Asia. And here you go to the store, it's like $10 and it
Right.
has no flavor,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
So traveling is possible if you kind of plan ahead. So what I did was, I brought my things that I know that I'm going to need, that I won't have access to or I need to
Right.
find. But then eating out actually was easy because outside of the US, they're not using as much of the bad oils. I mean, yeah, they have it if you go to
Yeah.
that type of restaurant,
Yeah.
but they just have more options than we have. Like I
Mm-hmm.
have a very hard time finding restaurants to eat at in the US. Um,
Right.
but there are a few tips and tricks that we use, and a lot of it came down to going into the grocery store, getting the fresh fruits, getting the fresh veggies, using those as snacks. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Probably almost every corner there's a vendor making fresh juice,
Right.
and
Absolutely.
so yeah, no, it was a really good travels, and also very eye opening because you feel more energized when you're eating real wholesome food
Food, yeah.
than when you're eating kind of ultra processed dead food. Like it literally
Right.
makes your body
Oh,
dead
abs
inside.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And that's what I find it too, like, definitely you and I cross path going, back and forth type of thing. My trip was I was a week in Houston attending the pharmacy conference. We have an annual conference there that we go every year. And then right from there, I flew to Dubai, Abu Dhabi actually, stay there for a week. And then from there I flew straight to India for a week, and then I came back. And so definitely in Houston, because I'm in a conference, they got cater food, buffet style. But the thing that a lot of people said is that, oh, you can't eat, you know, uh, properly because whatever they're feeding. But you still have a choice, especially buffet style. Like they have a lot of different vegetables and salad and stuff, and they got a couple of different kind of meat. Like I eat meat, so for me, my protein is from the meat. So I choose vegetables and meat, and then they have some pastas and bread and stuff. I don't touch it
Yeah.
because I know that for me, when I touch those, I will like totally be exhausted. So,
Mhm.
choosing what food works for you for
Yeah, what
those kind
works
of
for you,
thing.
I think
Yeah,
is key. And here's the thing, like I know when we were in Dallas for a conference earlier this year, and it was a big group of us, some of the colleagues that we have mutual colleagues.
right,
And I'm a big foodie. Like if there's like a restaurants to find or something, I'm like, okay, let me arrange it. And we all went to this Indian restaurant. Okay.
right.
And I find that ethnic food, you have more options, right? So
Hmm.
if you are eating meat, you're going to have the options of that. If you're eating
Yeah,
more vegetables, you're going to have the option of that.
exactly.
But um, because that food is generally made fresh and it's not like a frozen food that's been in a
Right.
machine
Yeah,
factory kind of
yeah,
thing,
yeah,
um, and everybody was able to find something that they enjoyed.
absolutely.
I think we actually went twice to two different Indian,
Nice,
but
nice. Yeah,
I think it's more of knowing what can your body handle, and then also, if you're like, yeah, I want to eat out, or everybody's going here earlier in the day, have something that's going to nourish you. So if that's the case, like I know I might not get what I need later, I will always do a smoothie earlier in the day.
right.
um,
Exactly.
I've been known to carry around a mezzaluna, which is like kind of a little chopping device for my salad. So I will
Yeah.
carry that around so I can eat more greens if there is going to be like a buffet with a salad.
Hmm.
I've packed uh, like those NutriBullets in my suitcase so I can make my
Right.
smoothies. So I
Right.
think we just have to think forward and go like, all right, I'm going to enjoy my trip a lot more if
Exactly.
I'm nourished.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, especially outside of US, you can find fresh fruit and stuff way better. Like even when I got to Dubai, Abu Dhabi, we're again at the hotel, but it was unbelievable. Like you said, dragon fruit. I got dragon fruit. I got papaya. I got, kiwi. I got mango. I'm like, I can find these fresh in Canada.
Yeah.
It's really so hard to find those, which
You
is
can't find them
unfortunate.
in the US even.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah.
was thinking about it. One of the hotels we stayed at in Indonesia, I mean, I could have just lived there for the breakfast buffet. Like
Mhm.
and I compare it to where I went last week. I was staying in a hotel, both by the same chain of
Chain, yeah.
hotels. It's like
Mhm.
one of the
Yeah,
bigger I won't say which chain it is,
yeah,
but
yeah.
um I last week I was staying in the hotel and I took pictures because their breakfast buffet was basically um like some watery scrambled eggs, some sausages, some bacon, some processed cereals, and
And
then
some,
baked goods,
yeah,
and a waffle maker, like the waffle maker
right,
you flip
right.
over. And I'm going,
Yeah,
oh my god, I can't have anything. Luckily, they had some non-dairy milk, so I could at least have like some tea or
yeah,
coffee. But
yeah.
I didn't. I that actual hotel, I made sure I had a kitchen in that hotel because I brought my own food, because in the
Right,
US,
right,
I tend to, if I can, travel
right.
with food.
Yeah.
But that same hotel chain in Asia, in Indonesia, every morning I was having a fresh plate of the fruit that you're talking about.
Hmm.
My favorite new fruit is snake fruit. I don't know if
Oh,
you've ever had snake
no,
fruit
I've
before.
never heard of it
Oh
even.
my
Like
gosh.
I was, I grew up in Southeast Asia. Like I was born and raised in Burma, but I've never heard of that.
Snake fruit you're gonna want to try. Like it is a super cool, like it's got this kind of almost like a avocado shell on it, like the
Yeah,
covering is like
yeah.
that, but you peel that off and inside it has like these, it kind of looks like garlic, but it's not, these
Oh,
pieces of like fruit inside.
okay.
Super good. But we had that every morning with like fresh plates of fruit, like exotic fruit, jackfruit, snake
Nice.
fruit, dragon fruit, and then water apples. I mean, things that we don't get here. So I'm thinking to
No.
myself, oh my God, my gut microbiome is loving this diversity.
Mhm,
Like
mhm.
it was
Absolutely.
really happy. And then
Yeah,
we'd have like our juices. So like 2 to 3 glasses of freshly squeezed juice.
right.
And rather than pastries being or bagels or this processed stuff being my breakfast, I was having fresh miso soup with fresh
Nice.
greens put in,
Yeah.
and rice noodles. I was having, I forget what it's called, but it's like a mix of like different dark leafy greens, cucumber, and like a peanut sauce and like fresh chilies, like
Oh,
crushed,
yeah. Yeah.
like, and that was like breakfast. And I'm like, this is the most nourishing thing. And guess what? Like, if you knew the price of this like meal, it was like
Mhm.
less than the cost of like I think fast food meals have gone up, but let's just say it was less than the cost of a fast
Cost.
food meal
Oh,
here.
I'm sure. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing though, like, when we talk about over outside of the US and Canada is less expensive, etc. And that's one of the things that people tell us, right? Oh, we can afford to eat fresh fruit. Uh, to the point, but still, like you said, you and I, we try if even we go out to eat, if you don't cook and you go out to eat, we can still pick and choose and knowing which food works for you and work with that. And sometimes preparing ahead a little bit like what you do. I'm not one of those, but I know you always have, your stuff, which is great, but for me,
Yeah.
yes, I will pick and choose what works for me and go with that. That's the key. And it's become actually a habit, right? You got to train yourself what
Yes.
works for your gut and what works for your body, and then you go with it. And one of the things that I want to talk about, people saying probably like for me, especially people are saying, you're traveling so much. And that's again part of it is because that's good for your soul and good for your stress, and it's de-stressing, looking at visiting different area, different environment, and not just oh, I'm going to this place, that place, but in actual case your mind, your body really need that break. So for me was like uh, Dubai, Abu Dhabi was that, I never been there. It's so posh, whatever. But going to India was my highlight of my trip because I grew up like Burma's next door to India. And, Taj Mahal is a big thing that I've always wanted to go see. And this trip, we literally got to make that trip. Like we spent
Yeah.
almost a whole day there. So, those kind of things. Like from your point of view, I know you have certain reason you travel, etc. And I know like you do retreat and stuff. And it's similar idea, right? Doing the retreat, but retreat is a little bit more uh, structure and better than just traveling. So if you can share your reason for traveling and why your retreat, like why you decided to do the retreat, because I've always thought, okay, one of these days I'm gonna do retreat also because I see the benefit of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So before I answer that, I want to just give a tip for people who, we want to try and eat seasonally, right?
Yeah.
So, and in the winter season, and I'm sure in Canada, it's really hard to find fresh fruits and vegetables. You're probably
Mhm.
only getting like some apples and pears and maybe some
Right.
strawberries that taste like water. So my recommendation is always to stock up on organic frozen. Like that's exactly what I did this morning because I had just come back from out of town. I finished all my other like organic frozen blueberries and strawberries and that kind of stuff. But that is one way that it's just preparation. And, then I was easily able to make my smoothie this morning.
Right.
But as for traveling, so here's the thing. I've been traveling since I pretty much left the house at age 18 and started traveling. I've been to, close to probably I'd say 50 countries, maybe more now.
Wow, good for you.
I'm one of those people that if you give me vacation days, I actually leave and go somewhere.
Good for you.
So you can imagine the pandemic was really hard.
Oh yeah.
But,
Absolutely.
yeah, but so I will usually travel 3 to 4 times a year for a big trip. And now I'm pretty much traveling once a month. And when I think of traveling, I think of it from 2 points, right? So one, there is a health benefit. 2, there is not a health benefit. And I'm going to explain both to you. And if you understand both, then you can kind of take care of yourself.
Right.
So when we are traveling, we're actually putting a lot of stress on our body, right? Because our sleep cycles get disrupted. We're talking about our food cycles get disrupted. Our circadian rhythm gets disrupted. All of this gets disrupted. And especially if you don't have the tools to know how to navigate that.
Absolutely.
You don't navigate it very well. And you come back and you're like I came back from Asia. I did not have jet lag. So you can imagine 24 hours, it's time difference because I have specific things that I utilize for that.
Right.
But the traveling actually, I think even with that negative stuff, like the oxidative stress that it puts on your body and, the radiation exposure and all that, there's actually even a bigger benefit to it that can help negate that. And that is the stress reduction. And we actually have research studies that show that, even brief doses of travel or more so really getting in nature. And for me, nature is when I travel, I'm always in some like green place where, there's a lot of plants and water. I'm not a city person, although Singapore was it was a nice city. Yeah.
Right.
Not my preferred choice, but I saw it. I know it. But we know that nature exposure significantly reduces cortisol. In fact, you only need 20 minutes in nature, right? To reduce your stress levels. And we are all walking around with excess cortisol in our body.
Absolutely.
And just that level of getting into nature, and you don't have to go far. I mean, we're talking about all these exotic places, but the message really is go outside, get away from your sofa, get away from your desk, go near some trees, plants, a walking trail.
Exactly.
Because that is going to lower your cortisol. That is in turn going to lower your blood pressure, which we know blood pressure and cardiovascular disease is a big problem.
Absolutely.
In America. And then the other thing is that there's actually a landmark study because one of the other situations we see in the US, and I'm going to give you a funny story about this, but a lot of people are dealing with anxiety and depression, which that is not the funny story. Okay.
No.
But there was a landmark study that showed that just doing a 90-minute nature walk could help decrease that rumination, could lower the activity in your in your brain that's associated with anxiety and depression. So anytime, I have so many patients who are like, they're so anxious and stuff. And I'm like, just keep it simple. Let's just go outside, go for a walk.
Yeah, exactly.
And just try it. Like, just try it. But here's the thing that I realized when I was traveling, is that America has, and I don't know if this is a case in the US. I mean, in Canada, sorry.
Canada.
But in America, we have a really big stress/mental health issue. When I was abroad, almost everyone that I met, I would say 99% of the people I met, there was only one person that I remember exactly when and where that was, but 99% of the people were happy people. I mean,
Yeah.
whether they were working in a restaurant, on their feet all day, whether they were like an Uber driver or, or just selling some juices on the side of the road.
Yeah.
And I was talking to them and I'm like, how come you're so happy? And they're like, well, I can move my body. I get up. I have a place
Hmm.
to sleep. I'm able to eat. And it was the simplicity in that.
Right.
And meanwhile, in the US, everyone has access to so much more than people have in other countries. Yet
Exactly.
we have so
So
much
much
more
stress.
problems.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we make it, I think all these, you know, so much things that we have that somehow make it more so complex. Like you said, for them it's simplicity, right? I wake up, I got food to eat, I got bed to sleep, I got a roof over my, head. I'm happy, I'm driving and I'm earning all of that. But right here is, I find it, Canada's the same thing. I find it that, you know, there's parents that coming into our pharmacy, rushing in and getting, we used to sell chocolate bar way back when. I don't anymore because, that's another story. That all these chocolate bars and chips and stuff. So, but when we used to sell that, these parents are rushed in. Well, grab a couple of chocolate bar, pay for it, and as well, talking to them as they're buying it. Oh, this is for my kid because he just finished soccer practice. Now we're on the way to hockey,
Yeah.
and I'm like, it's only 6 o'clock. What time they finish school that they already finished soccer practice? Now you're going to hockey. Oh,
Yeah.
they finished school at 4, and I rush him to soccer practice. Now we'll
Yeah.
finish soccer on the way to hockey. I'm like, where's the family dinner? Oh, we're
where
gonna,
where
yeah,
is life actually?
exactly.
That's what I'm seeing, and I see it here too. It's like, the mom is like driving this person to swim practice, this person's got this going on, and we're on autopilot of moving so much and
Exactly.
not realizing the stress and disease that we are creating in our
Yeah,
body.
yeah,
And then it kind of hits us like out of nowhere. We're like, oh, wait a minute. Now
yeah,
I have cancer. I have this disease. And I think it's a culture that's been created here that
yeah,
we have to
yeah,
actually pause. And that's why
eh,
I do retreats.
yeah.
I hold annual retreats, which gives people time to pause and go, what do I really, want from my life? We have such a short time on this planet, and
Absolutely.
to spend time enjoying it with people, with our friends.
Yeah.
I have patients who have spent so many years just working, 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 and by the time they're ready to retire, instead of enjoying life, they're now addressing this
That.
doctor's appointment on Tuesday,
Yeah.
this one on Thursday, this one on
Exactly.
Friday.
Yeah.
And instead of enjoying life, they're pretty much at the doctor's all week long,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And
which
that's,
a lot of those diseases are preventable.
oh, for sure. And that's what, like, we are training our kid. Oh, you got to do this, you got to do that, keep them busy, but there's no downtime. And so when these kids are growing up, they have no idea how to relax and how to take care of themselves. What they know is, oh, when I have kid, I got to take my kid to this practice and that practice. And, it's just running and running. Like even for ourselves, like at our house, I got two teenage boys, and the gadgets and stuffs are so bad. And I'm one of the worst person that I'm on the phone when I'm doing eating supper and stuff. So Cindy and I decided, starting like last month, at the supper time, you can have the phone, but you have to flip it. You are not looking at it. And doing that alone, now we are actually having conversation at the
Mhm.
supper, right? Learning about what their days are, what their friends are, what are they planning to do. We're laughing, or more lively at the dinner table. One of the bad thing is when I'm talking, I can eat. So I'm always the last to finish, but that's fine. But I'm enjoying and learning and, having that better relationship with my teenagers
Mm-hmm.
compared to they both on the phone watching games or wrestling or whatever. So, those are little things that we as an adult and as a parents has to, uh, you know, do as we say, like we have to do what we said to them. Before, like, we tell them, oh, you can have the phone at the table, etc. And but I'm always looking at WhatsApp because I'm, always getting message from business and stuff, and I'm like, okay, that's it. So that's why, like, I love your like retreat and stuff, and that's why I was telling myself and Cindy, we should, one of these days run a retreat so that people know how to come and just like you said, what do
Yeah.
you want
Well,
for
you
your
and
life?
Cindy are more than welcome to join me at my retreat. I think you will really enjoy our longevity retreat that we're having. It's March 27th, April 1st, 2025.
Okay, I'm
And
gonna take a look at that
in
because
Riviera Maya, which and this place, the resort, like if you're a foodie, if you like nature, if it's really the way we've set it up is absolutely amazing. But um, coming back to what you were saying about
yeah,
like with the children and what they're going to replicate their parents' behavior, and I have children in my medical practice,
right.
and the parents have no clue what's going on with their kids, and and I'm like, wait a minute, you're asking your kid like your kid's only 12 years old and you're asking them to go prepare their meal? Like, how does a
Yeah,
kid know how to do
how
that?
to do
Like,
that? Yeah,
and then you're expecting them to be healthy when they have, like, I think, I
yeah,
don't even know if home ec is in school anymore. When I grew up, we learned how to cook, but I
right,
also learned from my mom how to cook.
right.
So if you tell a kid, go prepare your meal, what are they going to do? They're going to go get something out of the freezer and pop in a pizza or something like that.
Yeah,
Or
and
I
that's
have one kid whose brother makes fried chicken for them. Every day they're having fried chicken. And I'm going,
wow.
oh my God, in seed oils, right? So
Yeah,
um, it's just like we have to kind of take some, like, we only know what we know from our
yeah,
family members,
yeah, yeah,
from our parents,
absolutely.
our brothers and sisters, our friends that we spend time with.
Hmm.
So it's almost like as a community, we have to go, all right, we need to make some changes here if
Yeah,
we're going to
yeah,
be happy, if we're going to be healthy.
absolutely. Absolutely. When you said that, like, they only know what they know. Like, I remember one of my patient that recently, a year or so ago, that she came to me saying she has a Hashimoto and she want me to, help her with Hashimoto. And we start talking. I'm like, you know what? No, I need to change everything for you. So I put her on my program, 3 months program, and with a specific menu guide.
Yeah.
And within 4 weeks, she messaged me and said, "Do you know when I grew up, the only thing I know that my parents fed me was processed food. Take it out of the box, put it into the microwave, and
Yeah.
that's it." And so she said, I never learned to cook until I see your menu guide and had to do grocery shopping. And she said, within 4 weeks, my pain is like 75% gone and I
Mhm.
am sleeping.
Yeah.
And my PMS symptoms are all gone, like 4 weeks just changing the food.
Absolutely.
And
Food is medicine. Food can be
absolutely.
poison or it can be medicine. And ultra
Yeah.
processed food is definitely poison.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
but I think that is absolutely true. We don't know that we are eating, like, we're not eating food, because the
Yeah.
amount of like food additives in food that our body can't break down. I mean, in
Hmm.
some of the most common foods like yogurts and ice cream and stuff that I see people eating regularly, there's compounds in there
Hmm.
that our body cannot break down and create
Yeah.
inflammation in
Yeah.
our gut, you
Yeah.
know?
Well,
So,
one of the thing that I use is a coconut milk in my coffee. And I always trying to read the label because I've seen some company putting certain thing. And just on the weekend, I went to Chinese grocery because we haven't been to downtown Chinatown. So we went there and I was looking at it. And the brand that I used to buy used to be just coconut milk. Now they put polysorbate in it just to make sure that,
yep.
you know, no
Shelf
separation
life.
stuff, shelf
Yep.
life. And then other companies are putting in like carrageenan and guar gum just to make it look better. And I'm like, I don't want that, you
Hmm.
know. So now I have to start looking at what brand that only gonna have just straight coconut milk. I
Yep.
don't mind the cream and coconut water separated. I can shake it. I still get, nice organic coconut milk that I put in my, coffee and stuff. So it's absolutely, if you don't read the label, they put so much stuff in it. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I spend so much time. I'm like, oh, I want to try that, and then I read the back. I'm like, nope, going
Yeah,
back on the shelf, going
yeah,
back on the shelf, because
exactly.
that's what it is. Anything that's coming in a package has been processed. I mean,
Yeah,
when you think about it, and food can sit on a shelf for like 2 years. Can you imagine what
I
that's
know.
doing inside your body?
I know.
Like,
Like when I first met Dr. Jeffrey Bland, and he talked about that. It was a funny story. When he was in the grad school, when he was doing PhD, he said, I love Twinkie rolls.
oh my god,
I know that came from, Dr. Bland, the father of functional medicine. And so he has these Twinkie rolls in back of his car. And when he finished the PhD, he was moving. So he's trying to, okay, I got to clean out my car too so I can, load stuff and I move whatever. And as he was cleaning out, he saw the Twinkie Rose, open Twinkie Rose box. So he took it out and then he flipped it to the bottom to see what the expiry date. That Twinkie roll was expired 3 years ago, and there is no mold on it. And he said, after he saw that, he said, that's it. I'm not eating those anymore if the mold doesn't want it after 3 years.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, I think just realizing it, like, I mean, the same thing with like fast food. Like, I've seen plenty of like images of like, somebody left a burger on their shelf for like a year
mhm,
and there's no mold on it.
yeah.
I think it's not just ultra processed food. One of the other factors I'm seeing a lot is sugar. We have a
Mhm,
lot of sugar in our, and not real sugar, not like,
yeah.
from eating fruit
Yeah.
or anything
Yeah.
like that.
No.
And I always think of like, I got rid of sugar in my house like years ago. And one of the reasons I got rid of it, like even when I have my like lattes in the morning or something like that, or I have
Mhm,
chai or something,
mhm,
I don't have sugar in the house. I just don't
right.
have it. It's because one time I had a glass jar and I had sugar in there,
Mhm,
organic cane sugar,
yeah.
fine. Okay.
Yeah.
But still, and inside this glass jar, I see these ants running around like they had gone mad, like literally in circles,
Wow.
like in this closed glass
Yeah.
jar.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm never bringing sugar back into my house again,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's just like seeing that visual of like these little ants, their brain on sugar. And I'm
Mhm.
like, that's what happens to humans too.
Oh
Like when
yeah.
we're just
Yeah.
running off of sugar, our cells
Absolutely.
are just not working properly.
No, no, absolutely. And one of the things that I mentioned before, and I'm sure you agree that we said you need to have more protein or proper amount of protein throughout the day for your muscle and stuff. And with that, some people say, "Oh yeah, I eat the protein bar. I do carry protein bar and stuff too." But you need to be again careful reading the label when you say added sugar. Like for
Yes.
example, I got two different type of protein bar. from a grocery store, and I was not reading the label. I was rushing, so I just like, okay, two different brand, let's try it. Bought it, got home, opened it up, and decided to read the label. One of the protein bar has a 4 gram of sugar from whatever, food that they put in, which is fine for me. But the other one, I looked at it, 17 gram of sugar in there in one protein bar. They both have 20 gram of protein, but one has 4 gram of sugar, one has 17 gram of sugar. And then I looked at each other and said, let's return this one.
Yeah.
Because, that's for people, they think, oh, yeah, this is tasty. Yeah, because it's a lot of sugar loaded, right?
If it tastes good, read what. This actually, it's funny because this happened yesterday to me with a patient. Because I have a patient who likes making this cacao drink in the morning, and and I was like, oh, like I wonder why your cholesterol is like your LDL is going up, like because the person is plant based. So I'm like, there's very like when it comes to plant based, the main source of saturated fat is going to be coconut. Right. So I'm like, do you have like a source of coconut somewhere? And so what he started doing in the last few months is he started adding a coconut creamer to his cacao. And so I'm like, okay, let's see what brand it is and stuff. And the first two ingredients were coconut and then coconut sugar. So now I'm like, okay, now he's getting double the amount of coconut, which, from a sugar perspective is one, but from a, when you're worried about cardiovascular disease, it's a whole nother thing. Right. But I think we should give the listeners some tips now on traveling. So I was thinking about this, like what to do with, like, if you're traveling, especially over the holidays and stuff like that. I definitely think it's worth asking for a refrigerator in your hotel room. I have definitely in the past frozen smoothies, stuck them in my carry-on and brought them with me, and then just put them in the fridge. So then
great idea.
During like the week for the conference, then I can just take it out and it's like defrosted, right? Because you can bring frozen stuff, right? I've done that with already prepared frozen smoothies. So that way you don't even have to bring a blender.
Do anything. Yeah.
You already have that.
Throw it, shake it, and that's it.
Yeah, shake it and go. Another one is I do like chia seed pudding. So sometimes I will just bring the chia seeds, and you can usually get like a non-dairy milk, or like I do non-dairy, so non-dairy milk or something like that. Like even if you're going to Starbucks and you're asking them for a cup of like oat milk or soy milk or something like that, you pour the chia seeds in, shake it up, and you have some fresh fruit with it. Now you've got a chia seed pudding, right? So super easy things. I also do a lot of, I have a dehydrator. Okay. So I will take fruits, like right now I have persimmons, which are being prepped in the dehydrator to make little, I'll show you. They make little, I'm almost done this bag, but they make like little persimmon chips.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
So making my own dried fruit. I will have that. I'd say be careful on the nuts, because you don't want too much nuts. Nuts are easy to go overboard with, and especially if they're roasted or salted, the oil might not be good. So raw nuts. And then the other thing is, like, I would Google search where there's a grocery store near your hotel, because, I've picked up avocados from the grocery store and just sliced those open and had that with like, a little bit of salt or something like that. Just sticking to as much real food as possible, because sometimes you are going to be eating out, right? But the rest of the time, when it's in your control and you're not like going with like a big
you can control what you eat. Absolutely.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. And for me, the other thing is that, again, when you go to the restaurant, there's lots of stuff that you can still choose from. Like I've seen we've been to,
we've eaten together, so what I order.
Yeah. So you look at it. It's not that you don't eat at the restaurant, but you eat at the restaurant, but you just select what works for you. Yeah. People may say, "Oh, you're picky." No, you're picky because it's your health. right?
Exactly.
This body is the only body that God is giving you.
Yeah.
You got to take care of it so that, like you said, when you're retiring, you want to enjoy the retirement, not running around for the physician appointment
Well,
because you're
that's what
sick.
longevity is all about, right? We want a
Exactly.
not just a lifespan, we want a health span where
Yeah.
when we're getting older, we
Yeah.
are able to enjoy. Like this trip that I took to Asia, actually, I brought my 74-year-old father with me.
There you go.
Okay. And he didn't know that, all these places, like he knew we were going to these places, but he didn't know like the places that the hotels we were staying at or the restaurants we were eating
Right.
because they were all selected by me because I'm plant-based.
Hmm.
And so I would say about 95% of the trip, he was
Hmm.
plant-based.
Good
And
for
he
him.
even asked to go back to a few of those restaurants because the food was so good
So
for
good.
him.
Yeah.
And he was walking 20,000 steps. He does not do that at home. He had
Hmm.
energy. He was sleeping well.
Yeah.
So food really makes a big difference in your health.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And being, like you said, getting out of your house, right? And like the same thing when we're at home or at work, we monitor our step also. And you can not really get 10,000 step even if you don't put in the effort,
Yeah.
but you're traveling, you got tons of step. Like Cindy and I, like every day, yeah, 20, at
20,000.
least
And it
20,000
feels
step.
so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. And you're like, whoa, I still have energy, because I'm moving so much. So
The body
that's,
is meant to move. The body
yeah,
is absolutely
yeah,
meant to move.
yeah. So that's, the other thing with traveling is that you are outside, you are moving, that what, our body want, what our body like. And from the mindset and mood point of view, you're visiting, you're traveling, it's reduce the stress. Absolutely. Yeah. Planning to go on the trip is one thing that can be stressful, but like I'm actually leaving town tonight. Sin and I'm leaving town tonight at the 7 o'clock flight to Toronto and then to West Palm Beach that we're going. And
Oh, you're
you
gonna be right near me.
yeah, we're going to Tony Robbins Day with Destiny for the 60 in West Palm Beach Convention Center.
Mhm, mhm.
So usually is I used to get, well, especially Sandy used to get so stressed saying, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. Yesterday I got home, went and did grocery shopping, came home at 8:30 or 9, and then I pull out my luggages and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be in the conference room. I just need the comfortable clothes. I grab a whole bunch of hoodies, throw it in, and I told Cindy, I'm done. I'm
Yeah,
going to
I
bed.
mean, we have
You
our
know?
own ways, right? You know me
Yeah,
at a conference. You want to know, how I make it easy? I just pack everything green. And I'm
yeah,
like, okay,
yeah.
it
I know.
works.
Yeah, it works for you,
Yeah,
and for me, it's like if I can wear hoodies for the whole conference,
yeah,
that's everything in the jeans and hoodie. And Cindy's learning it to do it easier also.
yeah.
And that's the thing. You have to figure it out what works for you and then make it easy so that you're not stressing out for planning for the trip,
And
right?
I talk about this actually in my book, The Anatomy of Well-Being. One of the chapters I talk about is kind of like making your home your sanctuary, and that way you know where your car keys are, you know where the flashlight is, and the
Yeah.
batteries are in it, and so you're not running around and creating unnecessary stress in your
Stress.
body.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
when people are packing, you do have those people who are like, I can't find this, I can't find that. And then I'm imagining the stress inside them is now,
Hmm.
creating this cortisol surge, and then that's creating
Yeah. Yeah.
inflammation, and then they're creating disease. And then, that's the way my
Absolutely.
mind goes.
Yeah, for sure.
just, just
Yeah.
organize yourself so we can eliminate as much stress from our lives as possible.
Exactly, exactly. It's like you said, where do you put the car key? Where do you put your phone, right, when you get home? And again, it's trying to have these little routine and habit. And habit you can change in 3 weeks. If one thing's not working, then, see what it's going to work and then make that become a new habit
Hmm.
and then go from there. But, as you know, I'm work from the stress and adrenal and adrenal fatigue point of view. So when you talk about reducing cortisol and reducing stress and stuff is like totally up my alley because as you know it, working with the food and stuff and stress, when you're stressed, your digestive system is the first thing go out the window. And so
Yeah.
now you got to work again with the food to get the bacteria balance and all of that. So I'm always talking about, stress reduction and stuff and retreat. Again, I'm going back to that
Back
because
to the
that's
retreat. I mean, I can literally raise your natural killer cells by having you at the retreat. I can increase your heart rate variability by having you at the retreat. I mean, like literally, you can change your immune function and the way your body
oh,
works by
absolutely.
attending a
So
retreat.
so your retreats, how many days is it?
This one is 6 days, five
Okay.
nights. Yeah.
6 days, 5 nights.
Yeah. So
I'm
it's a
asking because
Thursday to a
yeah,
Tuesday.
okay. I'm asking because like you said, hey, maybe Sin and I should come and
Maybe you
join
will
you,
enjoy
right?
it. I mean, we're gonna have some amazing things going on during the sessions, but and amazing connections to be had with some of the people attending, and I think it's just a really healing experience, right?
Right.
So
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
because we both of us do a lot of conferences where we're always
Yeah.
learning. So
Yeah.
sometimes that time just to like recalibrate
Yeah. Yeah.
and just kind of
Absolutely.
quiet the body and
Mhm.
like I always think of retreats as like a place to kind of refocus and go, what do I really want with my life? Like, what do I want to get out of it? Like, let me, come back and start anew, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and have the tools to do it with. So
Absolutely.
that's kind of the
Yeah.
way that I see retreats. And that's, I used to attend a lot of retreats, but I felt like they were just not as good as like the ones I put on. So I'm like, I'm just gonna put on my own retreat.
Yeah. Yeah. And you learn from it and saying, okay, they shouldn't do this or they should have done this. And then
I don't think there's anything right or wrong about it because, like, I mean, a lot of the attendees who have attended my retreats, they've gone to other retreats before. I
yeah,
think the most important thing is to always go into a retreat, whether you're attending mine or somebody else's, with a open mind, an
yeah,
open heart, and just go, you know what, I'm just going to take this experience and
yeah.
just there's no judgment here. There's no
No.
like, am I doing something right? Am I doing something wrong? It's really such a safe space for you to be like, okay, this is who I am as a
Yeah,
person. Let me explore. Like, it's
yeah.
very hard for people to slow down,
Mhm.
pause, and look at their life and look at
Oh,
what they want.
absolutely.
Because
Yeah,
like we go back to that conversation. You're driving the kid to soccer, you're driving the kid to swimming,
yeah,
like there's no
yeah.
time for
No,
ourselves. And that's
no,
where the
exactly.
retreat is a
It's
very
helpful.
safe,
Yeah,
curated space
yeah,
for
yeah.
somebody to come and not feel like any pressure to do anything, but
Mhm.
actually want to sit and learn and be like,
Yeah,
oh, this feels good in my body. I remember my retreat last year, I'm listening to the people as we're walking to like lunch or something, and they're like, oh, I'm feeling so good. My gut has never felt so good. That's what happens when you eat real food.
Mhm,
Like people
mhm.
forget when they're in so
Oh,
much pain and
yeah,
disease and
yeah,
distress, like
yeah,
how good it feels to feel
yeah.
good.
Oh, for sure, because, those, uh, pain and stress and all of that, it's become their routine, become their habit, and they think this is their normal,
That
right?
yeah, they think that it's normal, and I
Yeah,
say it's your cells are talking to you, and it's up
yeah.
to you to decide if you
And
wanna listen
listen,
to what your
yeah,
body is saying.
exactly, exactly. So if I want to know a little bit more detail about your retreat and sign up whatever, where
Yeah,
do I
so my
start?
website is drbenote.com. So
Okay,
on my website, it's gonna be there,
easy.
drbenote.com. You'll find the
Okay,
retreat there. I have a free, cookbook there that you can, download. I also have
yeah,
on my website, you will find my best-selling book, The Anatomy of
yeah,
Well-Being,
absolutely.
available on
Yeah,
Amazon. So if you wanna learn more
yeah,
about my cell care practices, really, a holistic approach to, um, reversing disease and revitalizing your body.
right,
You can get the book and social media. I am Dr. Benote on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. So
right, right.
easy to
Yeah,
find.
that's absolutely great. Yeah, it's your website is easy,
Yeah.
and I will have that in the description also, so people can easily click on it. And yeah, definitely, I'm gonna go look at your retreat detail.
I think you and Cindy should come. You're going to want to come.
Yeah, I'm gonna, because especially like, where you are holding it, it's like water,
The
ocean.
resort that we're having it at just got a Michelin star for their food, and
Oh,
I know the
wow.
chef personally, and he always like we curate a fantastic menu for the experience. I mean, there's nothing
Great.
like it. That's why we keep going back to this
Yeah.
resort.
Yeah. I gotta look into that definitely. And well, thank you very much. It's been great. We've been planning this for a while, and it's been great to be able to sit and chat with you and share our traveling experience and the food and all of that. So, until next time, I will talk to you again. Thank you for being on my show.
Thank you so much, Dennis.
Bye now.